Hello and welcome everyone to the Pantsless Podcast. We're back. We're here. Smile and wave. And what I really want to show you guys before we get into anything is Fred Durst's Instagram, because it is one of the most confusing Instagram accounts I've ever seen. Now, let's pull it up right there. So here you see we have a picture of Fred Durst, and then it's a station wagon, another station wagon, and another one, and another one, and another one, and it just keeps on going. It's just station wagons. This is his entire Instagram. What the fuck is this? And then because I don't have Instagram, it prompts me to fucking log in, but I don't want to have Instagram. Anyway, that's Fred Durst's I guess that's his Instagram.
Yeah. It makes me really happy that he just likes something so mundane like station wagons.
And he has only one picture of himself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude's really into station wagons.
Yeah.
More power to Fred Durst.
For sure. Shameless.
Whew.
I like that.
What are we gonna do today?
I don't know. Maybe talk about some video games.
I guess
Maybe
we can
talk about
throw
other things.
a couple of video games in there at some point. I want to ask you guys one thing though. Back when you were in school, like elementary, middle, high school, what kind of drug PSAs did you have in school, if any?
I think we went to like I don't know, like what should I even call it? They would have like black lungs there and stuff like that. Like, do not smoke or your lungs will look like this.
Dang.
And do not smoke anything because it's bad for you. Basically something like that. And there would be like a dude who was there like coughing like hell, like I've been smoking for 50 years. Don't do that shit.
Well, the US had this little thing called the DARE program, which was just a gigantic waste of time and money. But because of that, we had it had like a spokesperson. So there was like a dog that you got to know, McGruff the crime dog or whatever that guy's name was, the DARE dog. So it was like a whole ordeal. There was like a DARE week, like for anti-drug stuff, where you would just go from like classroom to classroom, and they would show you videos about why you shouldn't do drugs. And they would have like testimonials from real drug users acting like we didn't live in the middle of meth country, because that's where I live, is the middle of meth country. There's a lot of meth around here. So it was always real entertaining to see like, yeah, no, I know I know this person like on the video. So yeah, it was super shoved down our throats for sure, like the anti-drug thing. And it was like, if you smoke pot, you're ruining your life. If you smoke, and I think that was even the tagline for it was like, not even once, or something like that, because it was implying that even if you did it once, you were just ruined for life.
Yeah. That hard line stance.
Yeah.
Because I started thinking about it because for some reason I started like thinking back to when I was in school, and the only vivid memory I have is on 8th grade we had a police officer come to class and talk about the dangers of doing drugs, and he only focused like on cannabis, and then he mentioned ecstasy. And the only thing I remember from the ecstasy part was that if you do ecstasy even once, you'll die. Which is not true, but...
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't know like what ecstasy was at that point. And I believed it. I was like, shit. Like, better not take ecstasy.
Yeah. Not even once, dude. You'll die.
Yeah, you'll die.
Is that rave really worth it?
Yeah. Rave for the rest of your life.
all 20 hours of it. I don't know how long ecstasy lasts. I've never done it either.
Well, it doesn't last too long. It's one trip is about 4 hours.
Yeah, it was. I mean, like doom and gloom. Like every drug was absolutely the worst thing that can happen. So
Yeah, that's what I also remember. Like it was never, even when it was not like a police officer talking to us, it just like teachers. Like it didn't matter what you took. Like everything would have ruined your life. Which I oppose that sort of thinking in the first place. Now that I'm older, I think that through understanding, there's also the road to acceptance. And understanding something gives more insight to why you shouldn't do it. If somebody just tells me, don't do it, it's like, why? And then, well, I mean, you'll die. And then, okay, well, I don't want to die.
So if I don't smoke pot, I'm immortal? No one told me that. I didn't know that was an option. Yeah. Well, like in the US, there's like different, they call them like schedules, like, and that's how bad they are. So like a schedule 1 drug is the absolute worst. So that's like meth, heroin, weed is still a schedule 1 drug. As far as the US government is concerned, weed is just as dangerous as meth and heroin. So it was like, I mean, in the 90s especially.
And see, that's why I don't like that hard line of thinking, because weed is not more dangerous than meth. It, like, I don't care who you are, weed is not as bad as meth. Kids, don't do meth. It'll probably ruin your life.
Yeah.
But if you smoke a joint here or there, you can still maintain a pretty normal life. Don't do meth.
I think the normal policy here, as far as I know, is like people don't really talk about it here. I don't know how it's down in the South. Maybe you talk about it in the school more, but basically here, no one talks about it, like in the news or anything. Like I hardly hear anything about like drugs, even though they do exist in Finland, believe it or not.
There's even a documentary made in northern Finland called Reindeer Spotting, which is a play on words on the British movie Train Spotting. And it is literally like a documentary about a dude who misuses Subutex, a form of I think Subutex is it is a drug, but I think it's used for medical purposes. But if you misuse it, you can like use it like heroin essentially. And they his buddy just filmed him on his everyday life. There's like he robs stores and he jacks cars and steals shit. Should just buy drugs, and he filmed everything. And then they put a documentary out.
Damn.
Yeah.
I don't know, and I'm sure they are. Drug dogs exist in Finland, right? Like, did you guys have like German shepherds or something like that? That's the popular one over here that they use for drug dogs.
Yeah, I think they use German shepherds here too.
I remember when I was in the army, and there would be like a dog come to our like dorm rooms or whatever, and even though like it's not like I have drugs there or anything, and I'm still like, oh shit, it's a dog. Yeah. Am I gonna have drugs in my closet? Like what?
Yeah. Well, one of the things they did to like try to dissuade us from becoming terrible drug addicts was they showed us the drug dog in action. So they had a guy come in on like in one of those full bite suits, and they basically said, "Hey kids, if you do drugs, this is gonna happen to you." And then they would let this dog just shoot across at like 90 miles an hour and tackle this dude to the ground and just tear the shit out of that drug suit. And we were like, "No, I don't want to do pot anymore." Those things are vicious, man. Whew.
It's with that fear and intimidation. That's how you control the populace.
Exactly, with dogs. That's all it would take. Just dogs.
God damn.
Yeah, I remember thinking I had like a like a sandwich or something in my closet, and I was like, oh, it has ham. Maybe the dog smells the fucking ham and wants to eat it and marks it.
Yeah. It that's I mean, I feel like that's like the same thought process. And this happened, maybe it's just me, but I never want to say something is the bomb until I'm at an airport. Like the whole time I'm like what am I gonna say? Something's the bomb and I'm gonna get arrested? It's the same thought process. Like I don't have drugs and I know I don't have drugs, but what if that dog smells drugs?
Oh, this shit is the bomb. Bomb?
Exactly. It's like I've never wanted to say anything is the bomb, but as soon as I step into an airport, it's like, what if I accidentally say it? What if today is the day I say something's the bomb?
Yeah.
It's crazy how like 9/11 happened a long time ago at this point, and I know like airports around the world they tighten security a lot. If that's like a smokescreen or not about the security aspect, I'm not gonna go into that. But we went to Poland 2 years ago for an esport event with a couple of work buddies, and I remember when we came back, we were at the Polish airport, and this random like middle-aged woman, she went through like the thing where they scan your shit, and she left her bag like her suitcase like laying there. She didn't pick it up. She just started walking away. And the immediate first thought in my head was, that's probably a bomb. And I tapped the security woman that was checking people. I'm like, yo, and then she's like, oh shit. And she just lightly jogs after this woman, and it's like, yo, your fucking bag. And then she's like, oh, shucks, and then picks her shit up and moves away. I'm like, so everyone's so fucking casual about this. But I don't know. I mean, I was the one panicking in my mind for no fucking reason.
It happens.
God damn. But yeah, don't do drugs, kids. It'll kill you.
Immediately.
Immediately, yeah.
And then you'll get attacked by German shepherds. That's what'll happen.
After you're dead.
After you're dead, they will rip your corpse apart. Closed funeral. Closed
Exactly.
casket.
Exactly.
I've seen it happen too many times.
Yeah, everyday occurrence. All right. I have another thing that I can just whip out of my ass if I can type. Yeah. Do it like that. So Metacritic, it's recently in the news. They changed their policy on how user reviews are conducted. So currently, or the old way, was that when a game releases, then any user can write a review of a game. And it results in a lot of review bombing and such. So Metacritic's response to this is user reviews can be typed in 36 hours after a game's release. So instead of review bombing happening immediately after release, another review bomb is going to happen 36 hours after release.
I mean, I guess it could dissuade some people, but the majority of people can just wait a day and a half. That's not that long.
I think it's only for those people. I think it's to minimize the damage for like the first week sales, but then it would make sense to extend the time for a week, not like 36 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder, and this is probably out there somewhere, how many sales, like the bulk of sales in the first week, how many of those happen in the first 36 hours? I would be curious to see what that number is, because that may be the biggest part of it. Maybe 36 hours is just a magic number that they found that most of the first week of sales happen in.
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly have no idea. But I know that for Ghost of Tsushima, when the game released, you could type in immediately user reviews, and if you were to do that, there was a little text box that said that consider playing the game before you type in your user review, which is,
That's funny.
I for one, I was appalled that Metacritic is silencing my opinion. Play a video game before you type in a review? What fucking fascist fucking site is that?
Yeah, you want me to experience something before I give you my opinion on it? I thought this was America.
Yeah, this is a free country, man. Yeah, honestly, like I feel like this is just a response, the Metacritic's response to just review bombing. And unfortunately, I think that they will never be rid of that problem, because anyone can type a review of anything, regardless of if you even own the thing.
Yeah, without being like a platform like Steam or Amazon, where it like shows that you definitely like you are a verified purchaser or whatever, and on Steam it shows like your hours in it. As long as that isn't incorporated in some way, which there would be no way to do it with Metacritic, it's just going to be garbage.
Yeah. And like
Well,
honestly, I think the Metacritic user score is absolutely useless.
Yeah. Because so many old games are given a score with nostalgia in mind.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big reason that user scores aren't really valid.
And I think like a big problem with the user scores is that everyone, or the vast majority, has two scores from users. It's either a 10 out of 10 or a 0 out of 10. Which, I mean, given like Last of Us Part 2 got a lot of zeros, it's not a 0 out of 10 game. I mean, it's just not. I don't like, and I think the problem with like reviewing, and especially like if I say that, oh, Last of Us is a 7 out of 10, then your immediate first question should be, what does 7 out of 10 mean? If I don't explain my review process to anyone, then my number is an arbitrary number. It doesn't mean anything. And yeah, you can write a review on Metacritic, but when people type in like, I fucking hate the story, 0 out of 10, like, okay, well, I don't really value your opinion on this one, but thanks, buddy.
Yeah, that's what's tough about reading reviews or listening to reviews in general, is you've basically just got to find someone with the same taste as you. Like that's really the only way you're going to be able to truly like believe a critic, is if they have the same taste as you, because everyone's going to think something is a little bit different. And there might be someone out there that legitimately thinks that Last of Us 2 is a 0 out of 10, which I don't believe any game is a 0 out of 10. But you know, that person maybe that person plays COD all the time. Like, this is the first time they've played any game that wasn't Call of Duty. Yeah, it's going to be a 0 out of 10 because it's not Call of Duty. That's not a good critic, but that's what 90% of them probably are, is people that's just not their style of game whenever they put a 0 out of 10.
I think the Metacritic reviews, like the player reviews, are as useful as the YouTube channel that makes the Fortnite review references, which basically the videos are like, okay, here's Minecraft. It's not Fortnite, so it's bad. Something like that.
Yeah. With like Last of Us 2 specifically, a lot of the 0 out of 10s were directly directed towards Neil Druckmann, the director of the game. And I mean, a lot of people, and this is like what I already said on the episode where I talked about the game. It has those LGBT characters in there, and unfortunately, there's just people who they don't want that in their video games. So it's a 0 out of 10. And I mean, that's their own life and opinion on that matter, so fuck it, I guess.
But it's either way, whether they have it or not, someone's gonna be pissed. Like, you can't please everyone.
Yeah, and I mean, if honestly, if you don't like your video games to have gay characters or a muscular woman or a trans character, then maybe you should play that video game then.
Yeah. I mean, that's just like your opinion, man.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not invalid, but it's not mine. Maybe I want a big buff chick to just beat the crap out of zombies. I think that sounds awesome. But
And
I don't.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's stupid if you think that a character in the game or that their sexuality somehow impacts your gameplay experience. I think you should, I don't know, dig a hole and go sit there or something. I don't know.
just go sit in a hole.
Yeah, just go sit in a hole.
I've been talking to Trevor. Like he's playing part 2 now, and I let him drive all those conversations because it gives me insight in what parts of the game he is and what he hasn't seen. There's still a shitload I can't tell him, but the one thing he keeps bringing up, and this is what you guys also speculated on the episode where I talked about the game, is that it seems the game has this sort of checklist. We have a lesbian character, we have a bi character, we have a trans character, and it feels like it's going down a checklist. And I can understand that viewpoint. Now Trevor keeps bringing up how much they do show that LGTB stuff in the game. Like there's literally a bookstore that is dedicated entirely to gay porn, essentially. And I missed that bookstore completely, so I never had that experience. It's just a bookstore. It doesn't serve any purpose. It's just there, and they have gay porn on it. And is that pushing a narrative on the player or not? I still think it's not really. Is it going down a checklist? Maybe, I don't know. Because every discussion I have with Trevor, it always ends in me saying that by the end of it, all that LGTB stuff was not on my mind. And it's not the things that I think about when I think about the game. And I can't talk about those parts because Trevor's not on those parts yet.
Was there normal porn, like straight porn?
In that shop, no.
Say normal. That's
Not that I am.
It's weird to have like a bookstore with only porn in general. Kind of weird. Like there's other books, you know.
I mean, those exist though. Yeah, I mean, porn stores with nothing but porn books. It is weird that it's only gay porn books. That actually strikes me as strange, not because it's pushing a narrative, but like you're limiting your purchasing base.
Get all the porn. What was the director thinking? Like, we're gonna have a bookstore. It's optional to go there. What should we fill it with? I don't know. Gay porn books.
Maybe they have a teenager's sense of humor because teenage Joe would think that was hilarious. It's like, what should we fill this store with? Gay porn. Men's doing it with each other. I would think that was hilarious. So maybe it is a joke. Maybe it's not even, he just put it in there for the lulz.
Yeah, they have like, you can zoom in on posters and there's like dude on dude and then ladies on ladies.
I would giggle so much. I would probably still giggle at that if I went into a bookstore in a game and there were just two dudes doing it on the wall. I'd probably still think that was funny.
I don't know how I missed that bookstore though, because I know I went in it. Because I cleared every area in the game. And I totally missed it. And there's a rainbow flag outside and across across the road there's where you cross roads, there was an entire like rainbow flag painted on the road, and I was completely oblivious to everything.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a difference, or is there? I feel like there's a difference between like pushing a narrative and just kind of like trying to normalize things. Like with that, like you didn't even notice. So it's not like they were shoving it down their throat. They weren't forcing a narrative on you, but gay porn stores exist. I'm sure. Maybe not, they may not be open right now, but gay porn stores do exist.
Mm.
So is it unlikely to find a gay porn store? Yeah. Is it impossible? I mean, if that game takes place in the ruins of a major city, no. You know, and I'm sure there's multiple gay porn stores in New York City. I've never seen one because I live in a town with 4,500 people on a good day. So yeah, I'm not going to see any gay porn stores. So if Last of Us happened here and there was a gay porn store, I would call BS and say that they were pushing a narrative. But I'm sure like it probably does take place in the ruins of like a major metropolitan city, I assume, right?
Seattle.
I guarantee there's a gay porn store in Seattle. Yeah. So no, I don't feel like that's pushing a narrative. That's just trying to normalize what should already be considered normal.
Mm. Still, Last of Us Part 2 is a very good game. I liked it. I enjoyed it. It's a misery, but it definitely was a very good video game.
Definitely not a 0 out of 10.
Definitely not.
Dude who didn't play the game.
It is definitely not a 0 out of 10, and it is definitely not a 10 out of 10. Even though Metacritic scores would like to tell you that.
So, because I like to look up dumb things, I googled gay porn shops Seattle. There's Yelp has 2 pages.
Nice.
Yeah,
It's possible.
so yeah, that's not pushing a narrative. That's Seattle.
Yeah, that's just Seattle.
Babeland, Wild at Heart, Castle Megastore, Doghouse Leathers. That's not even trying to hide it.
No.
Yeah. So there you go. Curbside pickup at Lovers during COVID-19. There you go. If you ever need it, maybe that's the one it was.
Damn.
Curbside pickups. That's what I want to pick up.
Today we've learned that Seattle has multiple gay porn stores. Which is
Why would you have
nice.
it specifically for gay porn? Why not just have porn store? Period.
I don't know. Every porn store I've gone to in Finland has a huge variety of whatever. They got straight, gay, and everything in between.
Yeah.
Which is like fine.
Probably just to fulfill that niche, because I'm sure that there are people that don't want to go into those places because they may not feel comfortable, you know. And having like a strictly gay porn store probably creates an atmosphere that they feel a little more comfortable in. Because I know like so this is how progressive we are. Only an hour away, there's actually a gay cafe
Wow.
in our university town. I thought that was pretty cool whenever I found that out. It's basically just like a coffee shop for like teenagers and young adults to go to just hang out with people that have that same life experience. I thought that was pretty neat. So maybe that's why it's a specifically gay porn stores. They just want people to be comfortable, which I can understand.
There's been multiple bars in Helsinki that are gay bars, and every single one of them has gone under before COVID. They pop up and then they go away in like a couple of months. So I'm assuming that there's just not enough clientele.
I know people seem like I'm not gay. I can't go in there. There's no fucking way you could get me inside there. If it was the last bar in this town, I would never go in there. I know people like that, but like, why not? You can go there.
Yeah.
No one's gonna attack you or anything.
I've been to multiple gay bars, and I can safely say that none of the gay dudes have harassed me. I know it must be a huge shocker, but I found out through my research that gay people are in fact normal people.
What? What's that too? Where's your sources? Pedally, is this true? Are you normal people?
It's it is mind blowing. I know.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun. I haven't went to a gay bar, and I think I talked about this in voice chat once, but I don't think it was on the show. I've went to a drag show before that thing was a blast. The people there were just there to party, and we all got super trashed with a bunch of drag queens, and it was a great time. And yeah, no one was being aggressive or hateful or harassing anybody. It was just people being themselves and having an awesome time, and it was awesome.
So yeah, in conclusion, Metacritic is trying to stop people from review bombing things, but it's probably not gonna work.
How did we get from Metacritic to there?
Last of Us review.
I'm pushing a narrative on you guys. You don't even notice it.
Yeah, you're pushing a narrative. I can see that.
That was pretty sick.
I'm a slick guy, you know.
Yeah. Starting us out with Metacritic and then normalizing the gays.
And you, the viewer, can think, are we pushing a narrative on you?
Are we pushing a narrative? Write down your responses in the comments below.
The answer is yes. Their narrative is be good to each other. Be good people. That's the narrative.
Be decent people.
Yeah, that's probably a good start. Just be decent. Don't be a douchebag, you know?
Live and let live.
Yep.
All right. Joe has been playing a video game that I need to Google so I can type it out correctly.
Tsushima.
Got it.
Singular ghost, not ghosts. I thought it was ghosts, but it turns out you're just the one ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah. I put singular. Singular ghost.
Yeah, I started playing this game on Monday, and I liked it so much that I streamed it again last night, even though I had full intention of playing Dusk. It's a really fun game. It's not as combat intensive as Sekiro or Neo, but it is still a very fun combat because it is still, you do have to pay attention to what they're doing, and the game constantly gives you more ways to counter the more difficult foes. So you unlock fighting stances and ninja weapons and stuff like that. But it's actually, and it's based in real feudal Japan, so there's a lot of names that are actual people, as well as places that are of course actual places. And it's pretty cool playing. You're not necessarily the center of the world in this game. You're not a lord, and you're not the next lord in line. You're not some big shot. You're just the lord's nephew, which I mean is a big shot. They're still royalty. But basically you're just trying to save your uncle in the middle of a Mongolian invasion on Japan. And they do the face stuff. Oh, you can see my double mustache. They do the face mapping, so you'll notice a lot of the people in there look familiar. The first one I noticed was the Mongolian lord, Kanto Khan, I think. He's Genghis Khan's grandson or something like that. And it's just good. The characters, it is a very cinematic experience during the cutscenes because it's not just them talking. Things happen and things play out. And it's really interesting to see the game kind of just form your opinion of the world by what the people are doing. So you're going to different towns and freeing them from Mongolians, and you can just talk to people and see what they think about everything that's going on. And it's just a pretty cool game. Honestly, the horse riding is probably the worst part of it, and it's not even that bad. It's
really?
It's a little clunky. It's a little clunky, but it's not bad.
I'm gonna try to find some combat.
Yeah, whenever
I like the feature that you can actually pick up stuff while you're riding the horse, so you don't have to get off the horse, pick it up.
Yeah, that honestly that seems like a very small thing, but it's that quality of life thing that's fucking.
Yeah. just not having to get off the horse, pick it up, and then get back on. Yeah, it's really nice.
Now we're back at fucking horse riding. Come on, show me some combat. Jesus shit.
There's a lot of horse riding.
I remember they talked about ability to whether you're either the ghost or samurai. So which one did you go for?
Well, I don't, and maybe I'm just not far enough yet, but there's not like a class. There's just like ghost skills, and then there's samurai skills.
Okay.
So like I'm definitely going more towards the samurai, because what's one of the cool things that I love to do, mostly because it just reminds me of the old Kirby mini game, the quick draw mini game, is if you enter someone's like Mongolian territory for the first time, you can go to the entrance of their camp or their base or wherever and do a standoff where your guy just like yells out and the biggest dude in the camp comes out to fight you, and you just have to hold down triangle, and then like as he starts to attack, you let go of triangle and your guy just like pulls out his sword, murders him, and then just puts it away. And it's so cool because you just killed the biggest dude in camp. But one of the things that you can upgrade is a standoff streak. So you kill the first guy, and then another guy will come charging at you, and all you have to do is attack, and you just kill him too. And then after the first standoff streak, people will actually start getting scared of you. So I noticed last night I attacked a camp, and I did the standoff streak and killed 3 people total, and the 4th dude just was like, he like put his hands up and started backing away. I killed him too. No mercy for the Mongols. But it was neat that like it's not just the one guy's not impressive, but if you kill 3 dudes, he actually got scared and started to back. Oh, here you go. Here it is. And then as soon as he attacks, you just let go and it kills him. Oh, you'll be able to see me do a streak too.
Yeah, I've seen not the streak, but the standoff thing on stream on other places, and I feel like that's also it's a pretty small thing, but it looks cool,
Mm-hmm.
and it looks like a nice thing to have in the game. Gives the game like more unique aspects to it.
Yeah.
How's the combat like besides the standoff? Do you like I don't know, use joystick to control the sword or something? Like how do you do it?
It's just your square and triangle, but you have different stances that are better at countering different things. So like you start out with stone stance, which is good against like people who just use regular swords, and then you have a water stance that is better at disarming people, because everyone has like a block gauge that you have to heavy attack through. Man. So that's what you'll notice, like every time I get in a fight with somebody, there's a little white half circle that appears above their head, and that's because I'm like breaking through the defenses. So, and that's basically the gist of it, is that you have a heavy and light attack. But now on some fights, like with people with spears and some bosses with shields, there will be like a little red dot that pops up on their weapon, and that means that it's an unblockable attack and you just have to dodge it. But they will follow up those attacks. Like the first boss I fought, it was just a sword and shield guy. I thought it was going to be easy, and the first thing he does is he comes out the gate with a shield bash, and you dodge it, and then immediately he hits you with just a regular attack before you can actually recover. So they really like mix it up, where you have to know, like you've got to be really paying attention, because like in some games where it seems like once you start dodging, then that's just what you have to do, is just dodge, and then you get your attack in. But a lot of these, you've got to go from like a dodge to a parry, because you don't have enough time to get an attack in or even get in another dodge.
Speaking of quality of life, we talked about earlier, the thing about the door is like he opens the door, but then he closes it. Like, why not just leave it open so you can like walk through it?
Yeah.
Like, why would you do that? That's dumb.
Yeah, here's one of the bosses here, so you can see me like break that, and then he's just dead. Because not all bosses are tough. Some of them are just like throwaway like that. Usually the guys with just a sword and a shield are pretty simple. So those are the four stances. That one's good against sword and shield, and then the other one is good against pole arms. And I don't remember what it said the last one is. I may actually scroll over it here. Against brutes, which is just like big heavy dudes. And pretty much everything I've fought except for bosses dies with one headshot, even the brutes from your bow. So I don't really use that other stance too much. But it is cool. Like the whole point that I'm going through now is I'm basically going around recruiting my samurai Avengers. And I thought that was like an awesome, like the first thing you do is go seek out an archery master who already turned you down for training once. So the whole time your guy's just like, not too bad, am I? He's like, yeah, not too bad for a monkey. And it's just like, where's the hate from, man? I'm doing my best. And he's like, oh, that was a pretty good shot. He's like, yeah, it wasn't bad. That was my last student did that on her first day. It's like, God, come on, I'm trying my best. He just gives him crap the whole time, and it's so perfect. But even then, like that guy is like one of the best. He like created an entire fighting style that incorporates your bow, but even he has flaws. So like no one in the game is just like a perfect shining example of what a samurai is. Like everyone has like little flaws that makes their characters interesting. And that guy started out as a super douchebag, but like after finding out what he's been going through since the Mongolians invaded, which whenever you meet him, you find out that his prize student, he calls her a prodigy, like she's the best archer, and he talks about how good she is. And whenever you meet her, she was kidnapped by the Mongolians. So you have to like go through finding his best pupil that he's ever had with the pupil that he turned down. Or as the pupil that he turned down. So there's really, and there's a lot more to that story. There's like 9 missions just for this side story, just to try to recruit this archer remaster who you don't even have to recruit. You can just skip him. But there's like multi-tiered side stories that actually develop these characters out really well. And his name is Ishikawa, and I already love Ishikawa. I think he's a great character. He's a total douchebag, and it's awesome. And that's how like everyone is, because they're all samurais. So they're all douchebags because they're like, well, that's not honorable. Like the first thing that Ishikawa tells you after he finds out you assassinate people is like, are you sure you want to do that? That's not very samurai like. And your guy's just like, I'll do whatever I have to do to kill every single Mongol out there. And the guy's like, It's a good game. I'm liking it a lot. I'm only 4 hours into it at this point, but I like it.
But is the game open world?
So far, it seems open world. I will say. Because right now, there's like, it directs me which ways to go, but I can go anywhere as far as I can tell. Because I get sidetracked a lot and do wander off the beaten path. But so far, it seems pretty open world. One of the things I did like a lot, because I enjoy games that let me forget that I'm playing a game. And one of the things that takes you out of that, I think pretty quickly, is waypoints and like arrows on your screen directing you which direction to go in. Because this game has very, very minimal UI. I don't know if you noticed, there's pretty much just your health bar and stuff across the bottom left. So instead of having like an arrow directing you where to go, you just follow the breeze. There's just like a breeze will go in the direction that you need to go. So you just follow the way the wind is blowing. I thought that was just like a really small little thing, but it just makes it feel less like a video game. And I really liked that.
That seems really cool.
Yeah. So anytime you want to like bring it back up, you just swipe up on the little touchpad in the middle and a breeze will blow you in the right direction. It doesn't turn you, but a breeze will pop up. So, and it's not like a blustering breeze. It doesn't push your character or anything. It's just a gentle, you just see a little wisp and some leaves. That's it. Yeah, I think it's a really nice feature.
I have followed the discussion of the game online. A lot of people really seem to like the game, and it's been, a lot of people have talked about the game being like this final game that really sends off the PS4, and that it's a worthy game to send off the PS4. It's going to be the last like PS4 exclusive, I assume, at least. I mean, there shouldn't be anything else. There's gonna be games on the PS4, but not like these types of exclusives, and that's nice. I'm probably gonna skip the game myself. I am very tired of open world games myself. I do recognize the good things that Ghost of Tsushima does, and I might play the game at some point.
Yeah. I typically avoid open world stuff, so I'm not burnt out on it. So I'm hoping that I won't get burnt out on it, because that happens with me with open world games. Breath of the Wild is probably one of the only open world games I've ever beaten. Like most of the time, I just end up getting sidetracked and can't follow the story. Not that I can't follow the story, but I just get so sidetracked that I forget about the main story. And I end up doing tons of garbage that doesn't matter and burn myself out on the game before I even get into it.
Do you think the game is easy?
It can be easy. It has multiple difficulty settings. So I would definitely, I don't think it's tough. I think it's challenging, but I don't think it's hard. Like it's definitely one of those games where whenever you die, you're like, oh, that's what I did wrong. You know? So like anytime you die, because of the way the combat works, where it's kind of like a rock, paper, scissors type thing, where you just have to counter them the right way, you'll definitely know what you did wrong every time you died. The only thing that feels really cheap are the dogs. The dogs suck. The dogs attack super fast. So you have to dodge the dogs, but they recover before you, so you have to dodge away from them. And if you don't, they're just going to attack you. And you take a lot of damage from hits. You can probably get hit 4 times and then you die. Not including like little piddly hits, but like solid hits from just a normal attacker with a sword, maybe 4, maybe 5 hits and you're dead.
Is there enemy characters with arrows, crossbows, or something?
Mm-hmm.
Do the arrows hit a lot?
So the nice thing about the arrows, and I don't know if this is true about Mongolians, the Mongolians shout before they shoot. So all you have to do is dodge. So as long as you're not like locked up in combat with somebody, you just have to hit the dodge button and your guy just goes like, shoot. And he just kind of like ducks out of the way, and that's it. So no, it's the archers are more of an annoyance. They just kind of keep you moving while you're in melee combat.
It's like screaming grenade, and then you throw a grenade.
Yeah, they just yell something out in Mongolian and you press circle and your guy just ducks it. But again, like you still have to, even though it sounds easy, you have to at that point like slow down, because it's not like one of the games where you can dodge cancel out of an attack. If you're in an attack, you're dedicated to that attack. So you do kind of still have to keep your wits about you. But archers die in like 2 or 3 hits, so they're super easy to kill.
Would you recommend Ghost of Tsushima to gamers around the world?
I would, if you like open world games. If you enjoy open world games, and like from what I can tell so far, pretty fleshed out characters, like the actions that they choose to make and things like that make these characters pretty complex. So yeah, if you're looking for like a pretty story based open world game, which most of the time is not the same thing, in this case it is, I would definitely recommend Ghost of Tsushima.
There you have it, folks. Joe's seal of approval.
Stamp it right on there.
If it ever comes to PC, I'll definitely pick it up. If it never comes to PC, I might pick it up on PS4.
Yeah.
But we are getting closer to that next generation of consoles, so I I think that a lot of these PS4 exclusives that have like come out at this point are gonna fall pretty heavily to the background after the PS5 comes out.
Until they get remastered.
Yeah.
So they'll just like throw in ray tracing and be like, "Oh, look at our remastered Ghost of Tsushima, $60."
Yeah, $60. Thank you. Fuckers.
Speaking of the PS5, so something happened. I saw something on Twitter today that I thought was pretty interesting. And it's that some games, maybe all of them, but at least some of the big games on the PS5 are going to allow you to turn down your graphics to increase your frame rate. Which, I mean, it's only like 20 years behind PC on that.
What?
But I also feel like that's really, really silly. Like, the whole reason that you can adjust your graphics on the PC is because the game has no way of knowing how good your PC is.
Yeah.
So you can adjust your graphics on a PC so that a bigger range of people can play your games. It's not like there's a big range of PS5s out there. There's one PS5. Why wouldn't you optimize this game for your console? Why should that just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, it's like when you said that thing like before the show started, I think it's weird. Seen a few PS4 games offer it. But okay, so it doesn't like change what I would have said anyway. The PS4 and the PS5 it's one console. There's not a range of specs on the console. So why would you allow people to tinker with the settings? Why wouldn't you just optimize the game optimally for the console you're releasing your game? It's super odd.
I feel like it's a bad move, and maybe people won't realize this until later, but by doing that and by announcing that you can do that, you are admitting that the console that you haven't even released yet can't handle the games you're making for it. Like that's what I mean. In a roundabout way, that's what I'm hearing is like our console isn't good enough to run our own games at 60 FPS in the graphics we made for our console and no other console. So why not just make your console better? Yeah.
Yeah, actually, go ahead, North.
I feel like that they are going like a marketing thing. Basically, they say this is gonna run for like 4K 60 FPS, when in reality you have to like downgrade the graphics to all the way to the bottom so you can like push that 60 FPS.
Yeah. What's gonna happen? And you're probably exactly right. I bet they do that so that they can advertise both. Because if they show it right, if it's just like the PS4 can run games at 4K, 60 FPS. Well, we meant 4K or 60 FPS. But now they can advertise it as 4K 60 FPS because it can technically run 4K or 60 FPS.
And they're gonna make the trailers look like it's actual gameplay, and it's gonna be like 30 FPS and looks amazing. But then when you boot up the game, you're like, oh, this looks like shit. This is 30 FPS. And then you twinker in the settings so you get 60 FPS, and then it looks like shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, like the PS4 can't handle 60 frames per second, really. Most major games on the PS4 at least are 30 frames, especially the really pretty looking ones. And okay, fine, but I feel like we are entering a new generation of consoles that's not like 7 or 8 years old at this point. It's brand new. If they cannot put the tech inside that box that runs games at a minimum of 1080p 60 frames per second, then what the fuck are they selling us? I can understand that 4K 60 FPS can be a little bit too much to ask for. Because, I mean, you need a pretty beefy PC for, like, doing that. And the console's not going to cost, like, $3,000.
I think it's good. It's good that they give options because not everyone has like a 4K TV. So if you have like 1080 screen, you don't care about 4K, but it's still gonna try to render it for you like 4K, and you will end up getting that 30 FPS, even though you have a quarter amount of pixels compared to like 4K. Like, why not have that?
Yeah.
Who knows in the future, because they're gonna have like 8K support or something like that on PS5. So it makes sense to like lower the resolution, or not the resolution, the quality of the game, to increase the FPS. I don't know. Seems like a decent move.
Yeah. It could be. And it could also be depending on how adjustable it is, it could be them trying to get into some more competitive games, because I know that there are some people who don't play some competitive games on consoles just because they're afraid of lag, where on, or frame drops and stuff like that, where on a PC you don't have to worry about that as much because you can just beef your PC up until it's not an issue. So maybe they're trying to break into that and try to get PS4 a more sustainable, like, competitive console.
The to my knowledge, the only esport game that is played on consoles right now is Call of Duty. They've done that since like forever. Back when it, at least like when it started, it was the MLG Major League games, like that thing, and now it's just like the Call of Duty League, and they play with consoles.
Yeah.
Which I find it hilarious because it's a first person shooter and they play with a controller. Fucking plebs.
It's just as good.
in like, I don't want to offend people, so I'm not gonna say anything. I really don't want to say anything.
The way that I know for a fact that even the industry agrees that mouse and keyboard is better is that in Overwatch, they had to slow down how quick a turret would lock onto you because players couldn't turn fast enough to shoot it before it would kill them. That's how I know that even game developers know that the controller is worse, because that's like the only performance difference between the PC and the console game, and why they can't cross platform, because Torbjorn, his turret shoots slower in the console one to give them more chance to turn to aim at it. Yeah.
And look, like, if you want to play a FPS game with a controller, go ahead, do it. But and this is me and my extremely biased opinion. If you're gonna have an esport where you play a first-person shooter, put it on PC with mouse and keyboard, because they are vastly better players on PC, because mouse and keyboard is superior to the controller. It's not an opinion, it's facts. Come at me.
Yeah. So, all that said, which would you guys pick? 60 FPS or 4K graphics?
60 FPS.
60.
What if the 4K graphics only dropped it to like 40 FPS?
60.
60.
Dang. Yeah, it probably wouldn't make that much of a difference. Like, I would rather it be smooth than be super mega pretty.
Because this is how I rationalize it. I have a 27-inch monitor in front of my face right now. If I can do it like 1080p, it looks pretty enough. I don't need 4K on a small screen like this. Now, if I were to have like a 40-inch TV, sure, I could like tickle with the idea of 4K. But with this screen, I think it's not necessary.
Is that the screen you would play the PS5 on, though?
No. I would play PS5 with my TV that's 32-inch.
So still not big enough to warrant the 4K. Well, is it 4K?
No.
Yeah. So
but like
I think that's
the distance, like when I look at it, like right here, it's a tad bit like I can't. If I reach out with my hand, I can't touch it. But if I reach out my hand to the monitor in front of me, I can't touch it either. I have the same amount of distance between my main monitor and my TV if I watch the TV. The TV looks bigger like when I look at it, but I don't need 4K for it either.
Yeah. I'll be curious. I think a lot of people will opt for the 1080p just because it's still fun to play a 1080p game at 60 FPS, but if you're dropping frame rate all the time in a 4K game, that's just not fun.
Yeah, I feel like even if the PS5 is capable of 4K 60 FPS, that's amazing. But 8K, if they're going to say that we're gonna be supporting 8K, they just can't push their like 60 FPS 8K. It's no.
Yeah,
So
that's a
it
good
has to be
point.
like adjustable graphics for that.
Yeah, because they did say they were going to. Surely, if they can do 8K, they can do 4K at 60 FPS. Like, if it can handle 8K at all, surely it can do 4 at 60 FPS. I don't know.
And like, we have not seen either consoles, not Xbox, not PS5, being shown in real time to us. They can say whatever they want to say. I won't believe anything. I'll believe it when it's out. When I can go to YouTube to like Zach's Gaming Corner 360 no scope FPS, and that's his channel name, and he puts out a review of the PS5 and it's like, this shit don't run. Then I'm like, okay, I'll believe that more.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I look forward to people getting them in December or whenever.
Isn't it? Does it have like
They said this holiday season. I don't think it has a hard date.
Oh yeah. Q4. It has an 8-core AMD Zen 2 processor. And well, that's about 16 gigabytes of memory. Like I don't know. I think 16 gigabytes for a console is. I mean, shit, I have 32 on my PC, and I think 32 is the absolute minimum these days.
32?
Yeah, I think you can get by with 16 these days pretty easy. Just for gaming.
Well, yeah, okay, yeah. It's just for gaming, so yeah, that makes sense actually. Yeah. Now we wait for Xbox to tell us anything. They're gonna have an Xbox event tomorrow, the 23rd for you Americans, today for us Europeans. And they're gonna show Halo Infinite. They have been marketing the shit out of that game, and we have not seen a single frame of actual gameplay. But it's Halo.
To be disappointed.
I mean, so here's the kind of my opinion. I never grew up with Halo, but I played Halo Reach on Game Pass when it came out. My God, it's not a good game. And I know what Halo 1 looks like, and I know what Halo 2 looks like, and how they play.
I don't see the appeal in the Halo series. I get the story's pretty cool, and the map, the circle thing is pretty cool. And I played it like the multiplayer. I don't know which one back in God knows when. It's okay, but I don't see the appeal, and I feel like it's gonna be hard to sell a new Halo game to those uh, nostalgia trippers.
No, that
I
won't
feel
be
like
hard at all.
Yeah, no,
don't
not at all.
no, really.
No, I don't
People
think it'll
are
be hard at all.
creaming their pants.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I don't think it'll be tough at all. I think it'll be the easiest thing that Microsoft's ever done. The
Yeah,
only thing
definitely.
easier was selling the last Halo game.
Mm.
That's every Halo game. It's just they just print money. Even if they're not good, they just print money. People buy them up.
Yeah.
I feel like people gonna hate it.
I mean, yeah,
my prediction.
Halo is at this point one of those franchises that a shitload of people grew up with Halo back when they were done by Bungie. Bungie don't do Halo no more. So I feel like there's going to be people who are going to play Halo Infinite, and there's going to be people who absolutely love it. But then there's going to be those hardcore fans from like 15 years ago, 10 years ago, or whatever. And they are absolutely going to criticize the game. Is it valid, the criticism they're going to have? Who the fuck knows? But honestly, I think Halo Infinite will be a fine game. I don't foresee them to, like, fuck it up. I mean, it's fucking Halo. You shoot some aliens. How hard can it be?
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing.
I hope it's a good game.
That's the thing is like Halo, I don't think anyone, well, I'm not going to say anyone objectively would say that Halo is just a bog standard shooter. Like there's
Oh,
nothing
no.
special about it. But they're all solid. Like there's nothing wrong with the Halo games either. But there's just nothing outstanding. Like if you really think about it, you get 2 guns, you get 2 grenades, you might get a shield or extra ability of some kind. Did I just talk about Halo or Call of Duty? You don't know. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like it's perfectly fine. But there's nothing spectacular about any of the Halo games except the memories you have about how fun Halo 1 or 3 was. That's it. Is the memories you have playing 1 or 3. But there isn't anything spectacular about any Halo game except the story is pretty neat. I actually did play, I think the last Halo game I played, I didn't beat it. I played Halo 4 because I did want to know the story. Because I didn't, it was too new for me to grow up with it, but I did play it a lot as a teenager. So I was attached to like Master Chief and Cortana and all them. I never found out what happened because I didn't play all the way through the game because it got kind of boring because it is just a bog standard shooter, which I'm over.
Yeah, that's like way before I even played Reach, because I tried out Reach when it came out on Game Pass like a couple months ago, and you can go on like any gaming forum, and if they talk about Halo, there's going to be somebody who says that Halo Reach and the ending of Halo Reach is one of the greatest gaming moments ever, like hands down. I've seen the ending of Halo Reach, and it probably hit really hard on people who were those preteens, and it hit them hard emotionally. I've seen the ending when I was 30 years old, a couple months back, and it's like maybe this was a big thing like 10 years ago. I don't know, but it's really obvious. Can I like spoil the ending of Reach?
Go ahead.
The last mission, the character you're playing throughout the game, you get like when the mission starts, it says what your objective, and the only objective you get for the last mission is survive. And you mow down endlessly enemies until you die, and that's the ending of the game. It's
Makes
a
sense.
final mission to where you sacrifice yourself so others can live.
That's dope. I always wanted a mission like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is a great ending. But yeah, I mean, I feel like that's pretty obvious too, because I think by the time you play Halo 1, you're like the last Spartan. Master Chief is like the last Spartan. So yeah, it makes sense that the other one died in Reach.
And like
North wants that mission IRL.
and I'm not saying the ending is bad. And I'm very fucking sure that when people played that in their teenage years, it was probably one of the most emotional gaming moments a lot of people had. And that when it's your first time, it hits hard and you remember that shit. And and then like years later, you look back and be like, yeah, fuck, man, that was so fucking hard. That was like, it really hit me. But me, I've played so many games since Halo Reach, and I've seen emotional, like, story beats in a lot of video games. When I go back and look at that game now, it's like, it's kind of standard, you know.
Yeah. Well, I think the difference between like us and people who think that was great, and I'm super stereotyping here, is that we play other games. So like a forced loss, a forced loss isn't new to us. Like it happens all the time in JRPGs where you just have to lose a battle. There is no way to win. So like if I had beaten Reach whenever it came out, even back then I would have already seen that happen a half dozen times, a half dozen different ways. So like yeah, that's really surprising for someone who's only played like Call of Duty games or shooters and stuff like that. It's like, oh, my guy died. What? I was supposed to be a badass, but in RPGs, guys die all the time. It's just what happens. You know, it sucks. Not everybody makes it out. But in Halo, that's not how it works. In the Halo games, you're Master Chief. You make it out. You're the one who makes sure other people makes it out with you. So yeah, I could see if you only played those type of games where that would be super shocking. However, Grandia 2 already prepared me for that whenever the coolest character in the game dies and he was supposed to be the biggest badass. So
Damn, son.
yeah.
Now I really need to play Grandia too.
Yeah, that game has multiple forced losses, and they're all just as frustrating as the last.
Damn, dude.
Yeah, it's fun though. You don't see them coming, I'll tell you that. But yeah, I think for people like that, that is a surprise. For people who have played a bigger variety of games, it happens. People die.
It's funny though, like because whenever like we talk about a forced death in video games, the very first death that I think of is Aerith in 7, FF7, and I've seen this like on the internet. A lot of people say that it was the first Final Fantasy when they killed off a character, and I'm like, no, it's definitely not. And
yeah,
it's obviously written by people who have only played 7 and have never even considered playing the previous games.
Shadow, and then in 5, Gauf dies or whatever the old guy's name is. So the immediate 2 prior to that have character deaths, big character deaths.
In 4, Tella dies.
Yeah, and it happens all the time.
But 7 is the first Final Fantasy game, ain't it?
Shit. That's fuck. North spitting the truth here. Damn.
It's if you're American, it's at least or at most the 4th Final Fantasy game, because it was the 4th Final Fantasy to come out in the US.
Yeah, with the very odd numbering system that the states had.
Yeah, but yeah, you can obviously tell that those people have only played Final Fantasy 7 for sure. Sully probably thinks that. Sully probably thinks that Aerith was the first Final Fantasy death.
But it's like,
and then he says that. Oh my god, you're perfect, Sully. I love you.
It's I can understand why people that they go back and think about Aerith's death, because I mean 7 was one of the biggest games ever to be released. And I gotta be honest, when I played 7, I assumed that it's the 7th game in the series, but I had no idea what the other games were. And it's just years later, I like through like reading shit, I'm like, oh, they're on the NES and Super Nintendo. And then I played most of them on emulator. But for a lot of people, 7 was the first Final Fantasy they played. And
yeah, it's like Ocean 11. It's the first one.
Exactly.
It's the only logical conclusion you can have.
Yeah. And it just starts going up.
Yeah.
I loved that, though, that they just kept going up. It's so stupid.
I have tried to find all the other oceans, 1 through 10, but I can't find them anywhere.
Yeah. Now, if people said that, like, the Aerith thing was super shocking to them, that I believe. That is insane still. That, like, even though 7's not the first one to have, like, I guess Terra is pretty central to the story, but I feel like Aerith is one of the first ones that, like, not only is she central to the story, but she's clearly a possible love interest for your main character.
Mm.
So that is truly, like, that kind of stuff did not happen back then.
And
now
it's also like Aerith's, as a character, she was very like pure-hearted, and to kill off essentially the kindest character in your video game is risky business.
Yeah. And at that point, by the time she dies, you already know that she's like the key to saving the planet. And so I can't imagine anybody wasn't surprised by that. Like, there's no way anyone saw that coming. Like that, everything just points to, yeah, this character's going to be there. That's just how it's going to be. Aerith's going to be there at the end of it, and it's going to be sick. Yeah, that death is shocking. Like, still to think about everything connected into Aerith. If you like, still thinking back about her dying and that how she's interwoven in that story is still crazy.
Now only I can't fucking wait to see how they do it in the remake.
If it happens.
If it better fucking happen. I will be that angry gamer if it doesn't happen. And by God, I will write that 0 out of 10 Metacritic review.
0 out of 10, Aerith survives.
If you haven't seen our podcast about Final Fantasy VII Remake, go watch that because it's awesome. And there's like a bunch of speculations how the next one in the series is gonna end up being like.
We had some massive tinfoil hats on.
Yeah.
It's full spoiler, but if you're into that shit, go watch it.
Yeah, for sure. It's
Yeah,
like
we definitely
2.5 or 3 hours long, I think. It might be 3 and a little over.
Yeah, I think it's
a good
around the 3 hour, yeah.
You should
It's full
definitely watch
spoilers and full speculation about the future, and it also spoils a lot of surrounding media of Final Fantasy VII.
Yep.
I have played a game.
Tell me about it.
I'm gonna tell everybody about it. I played Neon Abyss. It is on Game Pass. If anyone has Game Pass. If you refuse to use Game Pass, you can also buy it on Steam. It is $20 on Steam. You can also download a demo on Steam, so you don't have to put any money down to try it out. I recommend Neon Abyss. I'm gonna pull up some gameplay here for you guys. But what is Neon Abyss? It's a 2D shooter with very random elements baked into it, similar to how, for instance, The Binding of Isaac does it. But it's definitely not Isaac. But you, is somebody muted? Are you guys muted?
No.
No.
No, okay. North is just...
I'm just fucking around in the background.
I didn't
Okay,
realize it was a side scroller.
Yeah, it is 2D. I like it, but it has some problems. The main problem, I think, that you have a lot of random items and a lot of guns, but I feel like they're kind of similar to each other. Like what you're watching now is I'm flying. There's multiple items that do the exact same thing, which makes you fly. And I wonder what's the point of having 4 or 5 items that do the exact same thing. The weapons are also kind of... You have your standard kind of automatic weapon that I'm using right now. Then there's guns that shoot like bigger projectiles, and you have a guitar which shoots notes, like musical notes. But what I feel mostly about the guns is that almost none of them are very memorable, and I don't remember like what guns I have and what guns I like. I go into the shop and I pick up the gun that's there, and I have no idea what it does. Maybe it sucks, maybe it doesn't suck. But I feel like there's a lot of weapons in the game that just outright suck. Like the guitar, I want to use the guitar, but it sucks. Because you shoot the notes and the notes circle around your character. And when you let go of the mouse, they shoot into random directions. You have to get like close to enemies, and the enemies, they jump towards you and whatnot. I don't want to be close to them. So it's kind of, I don't know, I think the items and the weapons are kind of disappointing. In addition, you also get these eggs, and the eggs can hatch into pets. And so far, there's 2 types of pets that I've gotten. Ones are these pets that follow you, and they all do different things. So they can be like, they can shoot, they can throw bombs. There's very clearly a reference to Donald Trump, who like grabs cash, and that's his thing. And I mean, there's no mistake that it's Donald Trump. And I honestly felt like that's a little bit cringy to have a sitting president as a money grabbing minion in your video game. Like,
yeah,
I don't care if you put politics in your video game, but you are clearly like having the sitting president of the United States in your video game. And I feel like if the game's not about Donald Trump, then like, why?
yeah, because that's not gonna
age
age well.
Coincidence that the character happens to look like that.
It's not a coincidence. It is. There's no question about it. Like, there is no question. Like, immediately when I got I think the minion is called just Grabber, and it's a dude in a suit with that Donald Trump hair, and he runs across the rooms and gets all the cash. And sometimes
by the what?
Yeah,
That's exactly what I thought.
Yeah, and so like it's clearly a reference, and I do think that it's a little bit cringy. But the egg system, I think the egg system is pretty nice. You collect the eggs, and after a certain amount of rooms, I think it's random, the eggs hatch, and there's a percentage chance if you get something or nothing. And I think it's pretty balanced. I think you get more nothing than something, but I still think it's balanced. Oh, I didn't even mention, the other type of pets you can get are just orbitals around your body. So you can get a rock that circles your body and it blocks shit. You can get, I got a thing that it's just a white ball, but the white ball also blocks your shots, and it curves them if the shot like goes close to the ball. And again, that's like a bad thing to have. It fucks my shit up. And there's no way for me to control what I get or don't get. So I think it's ultimately kind of bad, because then the ball just stays there. I can't get rid of the ball. It just dies on its own after a certain amount of hits. But it's annoying, you know. Very annoying.
Yeah, I remember watching your stream and you had the gun. I don't remember what it did, but every time you like shot, it would like curve around the ball and just like go around it and stop.
Yeah, I had like a laser
That's
gun that
Yeah.
just shot a laser straight.
Oh,
But because
it goes like meow.
Yeah, because the fucking ball was there, the laser is close to it, it curves off the fucking ball and doesn't hit anything. So my gun became useless. And it's those design choices that I don't know, like, do they want to ruin my run or not? Is this like a conscious decision they've made to make the game harder? Because I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I,
Oh,
I
here,
feel like that. Oh, Ghost Baby, I like that.
here's the grabber.
The
It,
grabber.
if
perfect.
that doesn't look like Donald Trump,
Yeah.
then I don't know.
So, because I mean, I feel like even in most roguelikes, there are just weapons and abilities that are like just worthless or just make things worse. Do you feel like there's more of that in this? Then, because I know that there are some super worthless guns in Enter the Gungeon. And there are some abilities in like Binding of Isaac that are also just don't have a use. So do you think that this has like a higher proportion of just useless or bad abilities than those?
I think so, yes. I think a huge amount of the weapons that I've found are just not good.
Ugh.
And a lot of the items that I find, the passive items, might be more very situational, so it doesn't really matter. And then you can have runs like this one where I'm just completely overpowered. Where
I feel like that you have pretty easy time, even in the previous one. You just flew around and dodged everything. Like, how is that difficult?
Yeah, I feel like the game itself is very easy until they ramp up the difficulty like to 11. And with certain bosses that are just extremely difficult to dodge their shit. So I end up tanking a lot of bosses. If my gun is just better at dealing damage, then I can just tank all the damage.
Something in these type of games that always bugs me, your shots don't go all the way across the screen. I hate that.
You can get
Like,
items that increase the range of the weapon or
mm,
the bullet. There's bullet damage, projectile speed, and then projectile length. And then other modifiers that double shots, or they add a bullet, so it becomes a double shot and stuff like that. But I
Was
feel
that
like,
bl-
yeah, go ahead.
is that the block that eventually like damages you because your shots hit the block and your bullets explode and eventually hit you? Or was it another block?
I don't know, but yeah, that was also like a thing. I have this might be actually it because I have exploding bullets. So if I hit the blue block, they explode and then they hurt me. And it's that sort of stuff that I don't like, because the Binding of Isaac has oh, it doesn't hit the blue block. I don't remember what the blue block does.
Maybe it was the white block or the
Yeah,
sphere.
because I think the white orb like actively blocked your own shots.
mm.
But even like in games like The Binding of Isaac, where you get something that orbits your own body, it only interacts with enemy projectiles, not your own. And I think that's just such a simple thing. Why would there be things that, especially things that are completely out of your own control, why would they have those things in the game that fucks your run up?
Yeah, especially because it seems like you don't get options, which I think is the big difference maybe between this and things like Binding Isaac or Dead Cells or the good roguelikes. Is that like you're just forced, and maybe I just haven't seen it, but it seems like every time you're only given the one option, where in those other games you're given like 2 to 3 options on what you can pick.
Yeah, there's certain rooms where you get to choose, definitely. But all the eggs are random, and I feel like some of the pets you get are just objectively bad. There's one that snatches every single heart in the room and turns them into moldy hearts. And moldy hearts have a percentage chance of either healing you double or hurting you. So if I need like half a heart, I won't pick up a moldy heart. Why would I? It's a risk.
Yeah.
And imagine picking a heart when you have like half a heart left and you just die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like there's just a lot of little design choices that are just bad and they're just adding up.
I do like the background though of the dungeon, like the neon signs and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Gives
what's
it
called
character.
Neon Abyss.
Yeah.
The background seems very like an 80s type thing. Like if they were to make this game into a movie, and it would have to be in the 80s because
Mm.
that's just when neon was. Like it just seems to have like that kind of aura of like an alleyway or something like that with neon signs and stuff.
Ultimately, I think that the game's fun when you play it for the first time. But once the game kind of opens up to you, you start to see those faults and those things that at least I consider bad design choices. So I think, like, I don't regret my time with it, but I feel like it doesn't have the longevity as games like Gungeon or Isaac or Dead Cells has. And it's I don't know, it's a shame.
Yeah, because I mean it definitely is Exit the Dungeon? It's a 2D side scroller like this, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I was gonna say we don't have a ton of those other than Dead Cells, but we do have Exit the Dungeon. So because most of the time it is like a Binding of Isaac overhead type view on these roguelikes.
Mm.
But oh look, another blue brick.
Yeah.
What? How many are there that you already got a duplicate? There can't be that many then.
No, I mean there's
Wait.
not a whole lot in my mind. I definitely feel like I've hit the limit of the pets that I've gotten. I think I've gotten every one of them. I don't think I've gotten every item though. There's still like items I find. It's very clear that they have item pools, so certain items spawn in certain locations. And so those are the ones that I generally have not found yet. All the pets can also evolve, or I think it's not okay. It's not all pets, but it's most pets. Especially the ones that are following around. They can actually like evolve into being like better, and they deal more damage or shoot more projectiles or just overall better.
Do you lose pets?
Yes, all the pets have HP, so when they get hit, they obviously lose, and then most of them have like on death they do something special.
I noticed that you lost the Dawn. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah. I saw in the video I lost the Dawn. The Dawn drops like 50 coins when he dies. And so you get like, the point is that you get basically your money back that the Dawn stole from you.
Oh, so he picks them up and keeps them.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I thought he collected them for you.
Oh, no. He steals that shit. And
that's hilarious.
In return, there's a small chance that he'll drop another pickup for you. So like a shield or a bomb or whatever. But yeah, he keeps the cash. And then when he dies, he spawns like 50 coins.
If you had to choose this game or Rogue Legacy, which one would you pick?
Rogue Legacy. Are you talking about Rogue Legacy, the old game?
The first one.
Yeah, the first one.
I think.
Yeah, I would recommend Rogue
was,
Legacy instead of Neon Abyss if that's the choices you'd give me.
Well, that's like the only roguelike that I can like think that works pretty much the same way. In a way. I guess.
I would say that Rogue Legacy fundamentally is very different. It's more about like persistent upgradings that you get to yourself. But I think Rogue Legacy is more of a tight package. It doesn't have that many random elements to it that Neon Abyss has. Neon Abyss is a very straightforward like dungeon crawler with procedurally generated dungeons. And Rogue Legacy is a more of a continuation, like of trying to conquer the castle and kill the bosses along the way, persistently upgrade your own shit. Some of the guns in Neon Abyss do get very OP. The clips that you saw before I ruthlessly took the gameplay away from everyone. It's a gun that every bullet explodes because I had like a thing, and then I also had other items that just multiplied the amount of projectiles I shoot per shot. So I just had a machine gun with exploding bullets.
Seems pretty good.
Yeah, I think generally people are very positive about Neon Abyss. It currently stands on 80% positive on Steam. It's not a bad game. Don't get me wrong. It's definitely an enjoyable game. You can boot up the game, have one run, and you can enjoy your time with it. But I look at these games from the same lens that I look at like Isaac or Dead Cells. I've played both of those games over 1,000 hours. This is not a game that I will play even close to 1,000 hours. Now, you can also I think it's valid to ask, is it right to expect you to get that much game time from a game? And yeah, no. But I feel like I want more from roguelites like this. The more you play, the more you see the faults the game has. And ultimately that is the thing that will deteriorate the game for you. It seems very good when you first boot it up though. I was super excited, and I was super ready to like love this game and substitute Dead Cells for this. But the more I play, the more clear it becomes more clear for me that it doesn't have the longevity as other roguelites have.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to be able to play it for 1,000 hours, but roguelikes are the type of game that you're supposed to play over and over and over and over and over. And if the more you play a game, the less you like it, it's not a good roguelike. I mean, like Binding of Isaac and Dead Cells both have reasons to keep bringing you back, because there's always something there can be something so different and so satisfying from the last run. But if you're going to play a game and it just gets worse, or just doesn't get better, it's probably not good. Because that, like I said, that's like the hallmark of a roguelike. It should get better the more you play it, because that's the whole point, is playing it over and over and over and over and over.
Definitely.
Yep.
So in conclusion, get Rogue Legacy. It's a decent game. From like 2013 or some shit.
But if you have the time and you're willing to wait a little bit, they're gonna release the Rogue Legacy 2 in August, early access.
Yeah, I'm actually super excited for that.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna buy the early access version. I'll wait until it's ready. But it definitely and the few things that I've seen definitely looks like it's just Rogue Legacy 1.
It does. It so fucking does.
They like literally kind of have this exact same things. But I'm super excited. I want more. I think Rogue Legacy is one of those indie hidden gems kind of games. It made a little splash when it came out, but ultimately I think it's not one of those games that people still think about.
And that's the one where like you play ancestors, right?
Yeah.
Like whenever you die, you just play the next person in your family tree.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool. I did play a little bit of Rogue Legacy.
Yeah, the whole point is to like persistently upgrade your castle, and then raid the castle that killed your ancestor, like the very first night.
Yeah. I always thought it was pretty neat that the fact that it wasn't like it had a story reason that you were playing someone different. And most of the time it's just like, oh, you're back, and that's it.
Yeah.
But like
yeah.
with that, it was cool because they would even have like some of them would need glasses, so they had worse aim, and I thought that just like those little traits were pretty neat.
Yeah, the traits were I think the main thing that set Rogue Legacy apart ultimately from other games. That you could have these random like buffs or even like hindrances to your character. And I mean, I played Rogue Legacy a lot, and ultimately I kind of fell into a certain play style. And that's when, again, when you play a game enough, you see what the game's about. You can understand like the mechanics behind the game. And there was definitely a set of superior and just worse traits that you could do, and after a certain point, the joke traits were the ones that you always like did not take.
Yeah.
Yeah. Neon Abyss is not a bad game though.
If you have Game Pass, would you recommend someone try it?
Yes. If
So it is worth playing for free.
yes.
Even though.
Yeah,
I'll
I
probably
mean,
give it a shot. It didn't look bad.
yeah, I mean, and like I said, like when you boot it up for the first time, it's very fun. I had a very good time. And like from a technical aspect, like I had no crashes, no bugs, no glitches. They have a couple of jokes in there that I enjoyed. You can like in the hub area, there's a rave party and you can go there and dance, and then your character just kind of dances. It's a very minor thing, but I was like, yeah, man, fucking A. They did the effort to put that into the game, and I enjoyed it.
Little things like that is what makes me enjoy a game. Honestly, just those little details that they throw in there like that. It shows that they care. They're not just doing the bare minimum, in my opinion.
Yeah, and like technically, I think the game is very good. It has. I did not encounter any glitches or hitches or anything. So
Well, hopefully they can make some adjustments then, because it does sound like all of them are just like balance issues. So hopefully they can make some adjustments and make it a fun game.
I think they kind of need. I think they need to diversify their items or make them more memorable. Like in Isaac, when I see an item in Isaac, I know what it is, I know what it does, and I know instantly if I want it or not. Obviously, because I've taken that item before. In Neon Abyss, it's like you see the gun, and you know, and I know I've been like in the item shop, and I'm be like, I had that gun, but I have no fucking memory what that gun even did. And then I buy the gun and shoot the gun in the shop just to see what it does, and like it's like, no, I don't want this shit. And I go back to the starter weapon.
Hopefully it turns out to be good eventually, though.
Yeah, definitely. Not a bad game.
I thought of like a perfect game.
That's okay. Go on.
Yeah, go
I
on.
just finished Divinity Original Sin 2, and I kind of want to play it again. It was according to Steam, it's 10 out of 10, and Google 91% loved it. So it's a good game. It's really good game. But now that I want to like start a new story, it's so boring to run all that story again because I've seen it. I wanna get to like that second half of the game, which is like super interesting and it has like multiple routes you can take and all that good shit. But I want to have like the combat style and like proceed faster in the game. So I was thinking about like what would be like how would I improve this game? And I thought about XCOM because that's a turn-based game too. And what I really love in Original Sin is how you can like have like a different type of mages. You have like a you throw poison and then you throw fire and the poison explodes and boom, all that all that good stuff that makes your characters OP. So why not have like characters from Divinity and turn it into like XCOM, because it would be so good. It would be so good. I just want to have like that combat over and over again and like upgrade the characters, but not go through all that story, because it's when you've seen it like 4 times now that I have, especially like the early game. I don't want to see it again. I don't want to be on the boat. I don't want to run and smash talk button till it's over and the boat explodes and boom, and then you end up on the prison and then you have to do that all that stuff again. I don't want to do that. I just want to have the fights, the good fights.
You just have to play other games, dude.
Yeah,
Play Divinity 1. Play Baldur's
There you
Gate.
go.
yeah, maybe Baldur's Gate. I think it's on early access currently.
Oh
And-
no, the old Baldur's Gates.
Yeah, the old
Oh.
ones.
Play those.
Oh,
Yeah,
not
play
the third one.
play Baldur's Gate 3 when it comes out, dude.
Yeah, for sure. I'll probably try Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah, maybe I have to like see the first game, but it's so good. And there's like multiple endings. I think the ending we had, we played as 4 men, and we all had like our own characters. And in the end, we beat like the final boss, and boom, 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 and you have to like choose who becomes the divine at the end. So we have to like fight each other, who's like the best character, and it's so good. I just
That's
wanna
where the
play it over and
healer
over
the
again.
healer gets like completely shafted.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the healer also happened to had like a thunderstorm or something, and it killed everyone.
Oh, was your healer a druid?
No, it was a like um ar- like a thunder water mage, basically. That's
Oh, okay.
like the healer and the buff. It's
Interesting.
basically that one, but it was so good. It just stunned us and killed it. It's so good.
The
I played a two-handed warrior basically, but I had like 75% crit chance, and I just one-shotted everyone. But if I get stunned, I'm like pretty much dead.
the studio that developed Divinity, called Larian, they seem super fucking excited to be developing Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh, I didn't
No.
realize it was the same people.
Oh yeah,
I know they announced something like addition to Divinity Original Sin 2. I remember seeing like some weird gameplay, which is basically what I described, like XCOM meets Divinity type of deal. Like you just spawn your characters there, and then you have like this massive fight, and it's awesome balls. And but I tried to like find it like a 15 minutes ago, but I can't find anything about it. Like, did they just drop it, or was it like a failed Kickstarter or something?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Trying to look at their
forgot what it's
web
called.
page.
Nah, it doesn't show on the web page. I might like hit him up on Twitter and be like, "Can you make this happen, please?" I know
Divinity,
Durst
like
did it.
Divinity is like one of those fantasy games that I will never play them, but I will happily sit and watch someone else play them, because they go just too deep for me. And they're very slow burn kind of games. And
Yeah.
you need to like really focus on what's happening and why things are happening. It's like Game of Thrones on steroids.
North
Yeah,
just
I
play
remember-
actual D&D.
Yeah,
That's the
for
game you want
that.
to play.
I kind of want to try something like that. They also have a board game, Divinity Original Sin. That seems pretty cool. But I remember like playing the game and not reading it, and too much story. I don't want to. So I just click something, and it ends up being like that I insulted her dead grandmother or something, and he picks up like 2 weapons. And like, you insulted my whole family, and now I have to kill you. And I like, what did I do?
I just clicked through, man. What the fuck?
Yeah, just click through. But if you're like super in the story and D&D type of stuff, that is the perfect game, in my opinion.
What is it called, Joe? Is it isometric?
Isometric, yeah.
That's like how the game looks, essentially.
Yeah, that like zoomed out, like fixed angle. The biggest isometric game that anyone can think of is Diablo.
Yes.
Yep.
You know
Diablo
what
is-
Diablo looks like, then that's how Divinity looks like.
Yeah.
The I think he's the studio head in Larian. I don't remember his name. But he I don't think he's a particularly funny guy, but that motherfucker, he likes to put out videos and tell jokes, and everyone loves him. I think he's super adorable too. Like, he puts on like armor and he talks about the games he's developing, and he's the kind of guy that I want to see on stage on E3 to talk about games, because that dude fucking loves making video games.
That's awesome.
And he like, there's not an inch of like any sort of corporate bullshittery with him. He just wants to make good video games.
Shocking how rare that is in the video game industry.
Yeah.
Ain't that the truth, my dude?
And who would have thought you should just enjoy making video games and it'll be good?
Because they've done like, I remember when they announced like Baldur's Gate 3, they had this entire skit like planned out where they the dudes from Wizards of the Coast came to Larian Studios, and they did like an entire the video is like 50 minutes long or some shit, with just, like shitty jokes and stuff. But it's like I watched that entire thing and I'm like, these guys really want to fucking make this video game, and even though it's like shitty jokes and stuff, I can see the passion that they have, and I appreciate that so much. And like everyone loves the Larian dudes.
That's
They,
awesome.
they really seem like they and I can understand they make video games that are, I would call it a niche market. They don't aim for those 20 million copies sold kind of deal. I really think that they make video games for old school video gamers. The people who played those Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 and played Diablo way back in the day. You don't see these types of games made by anyone anymore.
Yeah, I feel like it really goes back even to like the what is it, Zort or Zorm? What was the like the OG video game where it was like you get out of bed, what do you do? And like you wake up and the first thing you have to do is actually tell the game to get out of bed.
Like
Those text adventures.
Yeah.
Oh,
I feel like
yeah.
that's I feel like Divinity type of games they obviously they're not that hardcore, but they go back to that like feeling where every decision you make matters. Like even the decision to just get out of bed. Because apparently in Zord or whatever it was called, you can just go back to sleep. So I think it's cool that like you just spam through what you thought was needless dialogue and then you insulted an entire family. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
The OG Baldur's Gate was isometric view, and I don't know. I can't read all this in like 3 seconds. But I mean, like what I appreciate from Larian is that 3.5 floppy, probably. I mean, the OG Baldur's Gate came out in 1998. That's a long time ago. But like and yeah, those types of like choose your own adventure type of games, they don't really exist anymore. And I mean, I understand like these days when making games has become so complex, it's difficult to have like true branching paths or true like And or maybe it's not. Maybe like developers are just fucking lazy. Who knows? Like when Fallout 4 didn't have dialogue options, people went fucking ape shit because Fallout 3 had and New Vegas had. And like the response that we got from the developers was mostly like, "Oh, it's because, you know, if you make like a branching path in dialogue, then it gets so big that you can't do it anymore." And I'm like, well, maybe. I don't know. I've never designed one of those things. Maybe it's true. Maybe it's bullshit. I'd definitely like to have options, though. So I mean,
I feel like a games that have like a shit ton of options, eventually it becomes like too much. I feel like the same way I feel with Divinity. There's like so much options you can do, so you need like some sort of passion for the story to actually like enjoy it. But if you give like two options, like do you want to beat this guy or not,
hmm,
something like that, and
Yeah.
then it's simple. You just go no or yes,
hmm.
and just go on with it.
Like
And
Fallout 4 had like agree, disagree, or sarcastic.
yeah,
And I mean, and all the sarcastic ones were still agree. So, I mean,
yeah, I just feel like if you're gonna make a game like that or like Divinity, you just need some sort of passion for the text. If you don't have it in you, you're probably just not gonna enjoy it,
I
and it's
fully
gonna feel
believe that
mundane.
Bethesda doesn't have any passion anymore.
Yeah.
But I
No
do
way.
believe Larian Studios have passion to make Baldur's Gate 3 the best game that they can make.
Definitely, and it's so weird. You can like talk to anyone in the streets pretty much, and they would have like a multiple dialogue choices. And sometimes when something like bad happens, you go back to it, and it will have like another four type of things you can talk about. And we were like, "Oh, how's your grandmother? Oh, she's still dead."
She's still dead.
Yeah,
Thank God.
Now I'm gonna insult her.
yeah.
Yeah. She smells bad too.
Yeah, I mean, like because I watched Co Carnage play Divinity 2, and the amount of shit that they had to write for the game, just like text, it's astounding. And I don't know how
The voice
complex
acting.
it goes. Yeah, and I mean they have voice acting too. I don't know how complex it really goes because I don't know like how many if you start a dialogue and let's say there's 7 options you can click on. Like I don't know at what point is there 7 outcomes or is there just 2 outcomes? But they give
Most
you
of
the
the time, it's
illusion.
most of the time it's just talking about something in general, and it doesn't really have anything outcome, or it might tell you something like if you have like the right dialogue options, the dude might be like, "Oh yeah, my grandfather's treasure is buried somewhere by the coast," or something like that. So most of this stuff doesn't have like a real outcome necessarily.
I feel it's nice
But
though that when games do that, when a random NPC is like, "Yo, I saw some glittering gold by the shoreline," and then you can go there and you can find some glittering gold at the shoreline. That
Yeah.
feels organic to me. It's like, oh shit, that dude told me in the game that it's here, and because that dude told me, that's the reason I'm here, and now I'm finding shit because of it. Like, thank you for exploration.
Sometimes it gets a little bit like annoying, like when you're in the town and the town crier has like two voice lines it does, and you spend like 5 hours in total in the town, and you hear you hear the hear ye and the bell ding ding, and it's still like that fuck still kills people or something like that.
Yeah, I
It
mean
gets so
certainly like
annoying.
because I know that shortcuts needs to be taken. Like you can't make the game as
Yeah.
that complex that you have unique dialogue from the beginning to the end, and sometimes it just loops. It's just how good you mask that repetitiveness with whatever illusionary tricks you can as a developer come up with.
Yeah, for instance, there's like a marketplace, and they have like they say like stuff outside have have conversations when you just like stand there, but they're not like all happening at the same time. It's like those two are gonna have a conversation, then those two are gonna have a conversation, and it like gives it a little bit loopiness. So it just not those two saying each other like, "Oh, your fish smells bad. Well, don't come in here." And then the dude goes away and comes back like 5 seconds later. "Oh, you still your fish smells so bad. Well, don't come in here."
I feel like that was one of my favorite parts about the NPCs in 7 too. Is just they have ambient conversations. I love that. Whenever they're just talking. Like it doesn't even need to have anything to do with the game. They're just talking because that's what people do. Not every single person has to have a plot point. Someone just wants to complain about smelly fish.
Yeah.
It makes the world seem more organic.
Yeah. For sure.
And defo helps the game make it, and it's also like, because I appreciate that, because the developer didn't have to do that, but they went the extra mile to make the game as best as they could. Thank you, developers, for doing that.
Thank you.
All right, we have passed the 2-hour mark. Probably wrap this up.
Up high.
YouTube channel recommendation for this day is a channel by the name of Dead Meat. If you like to watch summaries of horror movies and kill counts in horror movies, Dead Meat is the channel for you. I fucking love that channel.
I've also been I watched probably 5 or 6 episodes today. I watched like 3 of the Halloween Dead Meats, and then I watched a Dead Meat cut comparison between the theatrical and producer's cut of a Halloween movie. Yeah, I watch too much Dead Meat.
I have too watched a lot of Dead Meat in the past like month. It's super nice to still to this day find YouTube channels with like extremely good content, and what's like extra nice for me is that there's years worth of content. And whenever like if I find like a 20-minute gap, I can put up a Dead Meat episode that I've never seen and be like thoroughly. I'll be sitting here, but you're like, yay! So yeah, Dead Meat on YouTube. We're gonna be back in not 2 weeks, but 3 weeks, because that's what Nord said to me. And
yeah, that's the second Wednesday of next month.
Yes. So yeah, there will be 3 weeks.
Yes, that is true.
In the meanwhile, you can think of what is your ultimate smash up game to make the perfect game.
Yeah, you guys can think that. I will not be here on the next episode because I am working. And hopefully Trevor can be here. Today Trevor is working, so that is the reason why he's not here today. But aight. Thanks for watching. This episode will be up on YouTube whenever I stop being lazy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Smile and wave, boys.
Smile and wave.
Thanks for watching. Bye.